And so, ladies and gentlemen, your next bout of the evening to be fought over 3 5-minute rounds under professional mixed martial arts rules in the Bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. He enters the cage tonight with a professional record of 1 victory, no defeats. Representing All Power MMA, Javonne Morrison. And his opponent standing across the cage, fighting out of the blue corner. He enters the cage with a mixed martial arts record, no victories, 1 defeat. Representing Nottingham MMA, Joe Rice. Our referee in charge of the action, Mr. Dean Weir.
This fight is brought to you by Rolling Calf, gym wear for the fearless athlete. Visit them on their Facebook page, Rolling Calf Gymwear.
And we are underway with our first professional fight of the evening here at FCC 16. Brad Wharton and Ian Jescook proud to call the action for you tonight. We kick things off in the Bantamweight division, 3 5-minute rounds if they need them between Javonne Morrison and Joe Rice. Morrison sporting the white trunks, Rice in the black with red trim. Both men just a single professional fight on their ledger coming into this one. Javonne Morrison with a 9-second TKO stoppage in his professional bout at a recent FCC event. Not a real test for Javonne, and Joe Rice unfortunately 0-1 as a professional due to an injury. Big left hand there by Javonne Morrison. Morrison looking to pounce here and rain down some ground and pound.
Looking for an early finish here, isn't he? I mean, both guys are sprightly, but you expect this in the bantamweight. But caught him nice and clean, put him on his back. Now in guard. Morrison trying to...
Nice high guard there. Javonne Morrison is going to have to be wary. This could be switched to a triangle at a moment's notice.
Yeah, he's keen to follow up and get it on the deck. But Rice doing well, wrapping his opponent up, not giving him any room. Eliminating that ground and pound, putting that rubber guard up if he can. But Morrison, a very powerful, dynamic athlete.
A real spark. Javonne Morrison probably has the height of a flyweight, but really chunky, a stocky individual, and he's looking to make that count here in the bantamweight division. He has fought at flyweight before. He's content here at 135, and he's looking very fit and strong here against Joe Rice. Now, just to give you an idea of the kind of fighter Joe Rice is, Jez, he made his professional debut against Declan Williams, professional on the UK scene with around 20 pro fights, I want to say, and that's the fight Joe Rice took at 0-0.
That's a serious introduction into the pro scene, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've seen Declan Williams here on FCC. We've seen him get a couple of big KOs and some spirited losses, and for Joe Rice to take that on his professional debut, much credit to the young man. As I say, undefeated as an amateur, but looking to be struggling slightly here against Javonne Morrison. Professional rules now, Jez, so we're going to see things like elbows. We can see twisting locks, neck cranks. A few more options for our pros, and of course the 5-minute rounds.
I was about to say, it's the right thing, Morrison, giving Rice a room, letting him get back up, because he was dangerous on the feet. He caught him, and he must feel confident that he can catch him again.
I mean, what he may lack in height at 135 pounds, Javonne Morrison is packed on all that muscle. He hits fast and hard. Tremendous amount of power generated.
Powerful and fast. Lightning speed, but again, you get that with the bantamweights. That's why it's such an exciting weight class.
Both men firing off big strikes. Joe Rice looking to be settling into a bit of a rhythm here. Nice left hook again from Javonne Morrison. Rice is going to have to be careful of that one as the fight wears on. Rice fighting out of Nottingham MMA. Made the trip up here for FCC. We see Brent Crawley in his corner there. He was supposed to be in action tonight. Has fought on FCC before himself.
But Rice not phased at all by that early shake. Back onto his feet. Very calm, very collected. Taking this fight to Morrison. Wrapping that arm up. He's got her back against the cage, but You feel that he's pretty comfortable all round here, and if anything, by the position on the floor wrapping Morrison up, it seemed that he wanted to get this fight back up on the feet. He was happy for it to get in a standing position. Morrison
has a great history of striking in Nottingham, big kickboxing history and a big striking MMA history as well. And you've got to think that Joe Rice is maybe wanting to use his reach and height advantage here to see if he can outpoint Morrison from range.
He's certainly pressing him, isn't he? He's looking to control his position in the cage.
And for the first time now, we see Rice hunting Javonne Morrison down on the feet, walking him backwards. Morrison seems to content to just circle out of the way, defending the takedown. Well is the young man from All Powers MMA. Nice knees in the midsection though from Rice.
Smart tactics being employed by Morrison. A cheeky little foot stamp there. Catches him with that over right.
A spinning back elbow there from Javonne Morrison. Didn't really have much on it. And Joe Rice with a flashy technique on his own. A bit more style than substance there to end the round. But a strong first frame for Javonne Morrison there, Jez.
Yeah, but both guys very quickly getting loose, letting the technique just come out. You do really see the difference between the amateurs and now into these pro fights. They trust their technique and they just go for it. And like I said, I love this weight class. It's very explosive. It's very fast.
Absolutely, Jez. And you know, these guys, they may just have one professional fight on the ledges, but they both are experienced amateurs. Javonne Morrison, I believe, has had around 6 or 7 amateur fights under various rule sets. Joe Rice, I believe, around 4 or 5, and was perfect as an amateur. Both guys probably have a couple more contests in there that perhaps haven't been recorded on their ledgers. Not really any way of tracking amateur contests reliably in the UK. Point being, though, both these guys are no strangers to the cage. They may be novice professionals. They're both training at high-level gyms with high-level training partners, putting in the work day in, day out, and that's showing here at FCC 16.
Yeah, and if it's anything to go around by the first round, we're in for another tasty
Well, it's going to be
5 minutes, Brad.
Absolutely, Jez. Sorry to interrupt there. It's going to be interesting to see the game plans from both these guys coming into the first round. It was perhaps a bit of a stalemate in certain phases. Javonne Morrison perhaps controlling the round a little bit more, pressing the action a little bit more. Is it going to be more of the same for Javonne? He looks like he's happy to bang things out on the feet here. Brendan Loughnane very happy with his man's footwork and kicking in the corner. It has to be said about Javonne, Jez, and we've learned about this young man over the years. He's a feisty individual, and there's another big left hook from Javonne Morrison. Morrison looking to wrap up the neck here.
And that's an explosion, that power, and that's the physicality, that muscular frame that he has, delivers huge power. But again, Rice has been able to weather it. He is in a bit of trouble here.
Morrison trying to spin now to take the back. Rice doing a great job. Nice cradle from Javonne Morrison, trying to get into an advantageous position. He's improved it slightly here. Rice able to pull a guard though, half guard now. And Jez, just before that flurry of action there, we were saying about Javonne Morrison, he's been known to be a fiery, feisty individual, doesn't hold back outside the cage or inside it, and it's nice to see a bit of a mature, calmer, more methodical approach from the man from All Powers.
Well, yeah, absolutely, Brad. He's very explosive, but he's waiting for those opportunities rather than just going out and searching them and then sort of exposing himself. He's not doing that here. He's waiting, he's timed it. But then on the deck, we know what he's about. It's just waiting again for those opportunities. Can he create space? Very difficult at this level when both are very competent on the deck. And Rice doing a good job again, just tying up his opponent.
He is doing a good job of tying him up, Jez, but really that's all he's doing at the moment. I'd like to see a bit more offensive work from Rice, and as we say that, the legs did look like they were going to briefly open and perhaps try and throw up a higher guard, a bit of rubber guard work maybe from Joe Rice here, and Morrison steps away from his man. Brendan Loughnane saying step back, get him back on his feet. He's already dropped him twice. Let's see if he can land that big left hook again, or perhaps he's got something else in his bag of tricks.
Yeah, Loughnane giving clear instructions. Obviously feels there's dominance here, waiting for that next opportunity.
Morrison just seems to be that little bit faster, a little bit sharper on the feet. Royce not really able to land anything of massive consequence thus far.
But the way this fight is panning out, sure, well, it's clearly a crowd pleaser. Everyone loves to see a good stand-up exchange, and these guys are really, really putting on a show for us here.
Morrison using his footwork well, so just out of the range. Nice combination and a body kick there from Joe Rice. Rice perhaps turning up the pressure a little bit now.
Well, he needs to as well. He's been caught by 2 big shots from Javonne, so he needs to up the ante. He needs to up the levels here. He's got to go through the gears.
And Javonne really winging that hook. Got to be careful with that. Doesn't want to leave himself open to a counter. Looking for the single leg now. Switches to the back. It's Joe Rice though, bringing this one to the ground. Morrison content to hang on, see if he can take the back, get one hook, and he does. Looks for a second here to Javonne Morrison so he can flatten his man out. Dangerous position here for Joe Rice.
Very dangerous.
Morrison riding the back, perhaps an inch or two too high.
You see Rice trying to shake him off. If Javonne can try and get his man back on the deck.
Rice twerking for all he's worth there.
But smart play here again by Rice, cancelling out the dominant position that Morrison's got. Not the first time he's had it, but really neutralising the threat.
He's just a little bit too high to go for the choke here. There's potential for an armbar, or he could look to take his man all the way over the top. He does look to switch for the armbar. Didn't get it though, and now finds himself on bottom position. And let's see what Joe Rice can now do with the dominant position on the mat, Jess.
Well, this is a bit of a new opportunity for Rice. We've seen him on his back, and he didn't keep that busy. To be honest, he was quite content closing the gap. You hope that he kind of looks to posture up. He's trying to soften up his opponent. Do have to be careful though. Quick switch of the hips, but a nice hammer fist there from Rice, and he's now standing up.
And Rice tried to throw a big one over the top there. Morrison caught him with an upkick. Great show of respect between these 2 young men to end the second round. And Jez, interesting round again. If you're in the corner of Joe Rice now, what are your words to him? Do you think he's behind? If so, by how much? And what does he have to do in this third round?
Yeah, I the way I'm looking at it, Brad, I'm putting him 2 down, so he's got to come out and finish. He's obviously a competent striker. He's not quite found his range. He's not been able to really loosen up and put together some combinations. I'd like to see him try, but he has to be careful. Obviously, in the back of his mind, there's a threat of being potentially knocked out. He's taken 2 big punches that have put him on the deck, but he's got to give it all now. It's all or broke, Brad, as far as I'm concerned.
It's going to be interesting to see how Javonne Morrison approaches this round. If his corner in agreement with us, Jez, that he perhaps is 2 frames up, does he try and take his foot off the gas here? Does he coast to a decision? Does he play it safe? Or does he go all out and look for the finish? Well,
I think one thing about Morrison that we know for sure is intensity, and I feel we'll get that in the third, no doubt.
It's Rice taking the centre of the cage just slightly. Morrison happy to engage him. Rice throwing the combinations now. Rice looking a little bit fresh here in the third round, Jez, perhaps.
Yeah, really got to loosen up. Good straight through.
Morrison using his footwork well defensively, just keeping out of range. Morrison just circling away, drawing his man forward. Looking to wing a big right there was Joe Rice, but Morrison's backward movement just keeping him safe.
Yeah, Rice seeming to look for that one big power shot.
And it was a stumble there rather than a punch that connected.
Yeah, right little smile from Morrison.
Morrison ducks under the shot there. Going to look for a takedown against the cage.
Yeah, smart move from Morrison. Rice just seems to try to look for that one big killer punch. And Morrison capitalises on it. Tightens him up, back on the cage. And this is exactly where he wants his man.
Good pressure here from Javonne Morrison. Looking to connect those hands for the double leg takedown. Could be taking his man for a ride here, and he does. Javonne Morrison with the takedown. Absolutely crucial at this point of the fight. If Morrison can maintain this position here, Jez, he could well cruise to a victory.
That was a huge moment in this fight. You could see Rice searching for it. He knows that he had to deliver something on the feet. He's not been able to do that. And now Morrison's going to be chewing away at that clock, winding it down. If he can carry on in this position, securing position, locking him in, but Rice now being a bit more busy.
Rice looking for a triangle. Jez, this could be absolutely disastrous. Rice blasting Javonne Morrison with elbows. Morrison, though, able to pull out. Very, very precarious spot for Javonne Morrison, powering his way out there. Accidental kick to the head of a downed opponent. Rice says he's okay.
Rice just shrugs it off, not phased whatsoever. Dean Weir giving Rice a bit of time.
Well, they're going to get back underway. Accidental just as Rice was rising. Morrison already throwing the kick.
But this is exactly where Rice wants it. Yes, he had the opportunity, but if he's going to finish this, he needs a submission or he needs to knock his opponent out. Again, Morrison, very smart.
Looking for the switch there with Rice. He's not going to get it. And as soon as that restart was affected, Jez, Brendan Loughnane screaming at Javonne Morrison to go at his man. Perhaps now looking for Javonne to empty the gas tank. Look to bully Joe Rice in this third and final frame.
Well, he's had so much success so far when it comes to the wrestling aspect of this fight. And that power, that frame. But he's got to be careful here, Brad.
And again, Morrison on the back. And again, Rice trying to shake him off. Looks like he might just be able to do it. Rice got to be careful of the arm bar on the way out here. Good stuff by Joe Rice. Let's see if the man from Nottingham MMA can do something spectacular here. He passes into Mount. Big punches from Joe Rice.
He's got to be looking for a finish here, Brad. He's flattened his opponent out. Good ground and pound. Dean Weir is looking at this very, very closely.
Javonne Morrison needs to do something here. Joe Rice striking away. Morrison's doing nothing and it's all over. What a comeback.
What a finish. Rice was down. He left nothing in that cage. Shrugged Morrison off. Took a great position with his mount and just unloaded. Morrison had nothing. A great finish there.
Incredible comeback, and I think perhaps Morrison just a little bit exhausted. Clearly frustrated with himself there. Corner team pulling him back to his feet, and absolutely no shame in the effort there from Javonne Morrison. It really was a fantastic and I would say dominant performance, Jez, if I'm completely honest. Joe Rice pulling one out of the bag, showing tremendous resiliency, mental toughness and mental fortitude to take that beating for 3 rounds and come back with a submission. We'll throw this one to Jonathan Millard in the cage to make it official.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, at a time of 3 minutes, 44 seconds of the 3rd round, your winner by TKO in the blue corner, Joe Rice. And let's hear it for his opponent. Let's hear it for Javonne Morrison.
nothing but go and walk in.